Now let's move on to their life cycle and threats. So first we will start with the eggs. Now of course there will be natural predators for turtle eggs such as different mammal species like wild pigs or coatis. There are also crabs which will enter the nest, pierce the eggs with their claws and basically suck out the egg. When I was doing nest excavations, it was quite easy to tell when a nest had been predated on by a crab because you could see where they had basically punctured into the eggs and the eggs were completely empty. There was usually quite a few of them as well. It was quite unusual to find just one egg that had been predated on by a crab. If a nest had been predated by a mammal, then animals like vultures could also move in, and it also did make it easier for crabs to access the nests as well. However, there are also unnatural predators for turtle eggs, and there are two main culprits for this: humans and dogs. In many countries there are a lot of feral dogs roaming beaches, and unfortunately they can sniff out eggs really easily. This was a massive issue on our beaches in Costa Rica, and in a future video I'm going to go into what is now being done about that. Poaching is also a major issue in many countries. Turtle eggs, turtle shells, turtle meat are of extreme cultural importance in many societies, and it's very difficult to change that behaviour, especially if you're going in from the outside. You need to be very, very culturally sensitive because a lot of these traditions have been going on way before turtles were threatened. As with many aspects of biology, climate change is a huge potential threat. This is because the sex of turtles is temperature dependent. So if eggs develop under a certain temperature, then they will be male, and if they develop above a certain temperature, the temperature varies between species, they will be female. So as you can imagine, as climate change is happening and global warming is happening, more and more turtles will be hatching as female. And in the short term, this could potentially be a positive. Males can fertilise the eggs of many different females, but it will get to a point where there are too many females and not enough males to fertilise those females' eggs, and then that is a real issue that can't necessarily easily be solved. It can only really be prevented. Turtles that hatch out of these eggs are called hatchlings. It might come as a shock to you to find out that only 1 in 1,000 turtle hatchlings are predicted to make it to adulthood. So if you could imagine that each nest has an average of about 100 eggs in it, that means that there is only one single hatchling out of 10 nests that will make it to adulthood. There are many reasons for this, and I'm going to touch on some of them now. So as with the eggs, they can be affected by natural and unnatural predation on their way from their hatching site to the sea. Not only that, but while they are navigating to the sea, they can be really influenced by any artificial lighting. Now, I'm sure many of you will have seen those clips from, I can't remember if it's Planet Earth 2 or Blue Planet 2. I think it's Planet Earth 2, where they show turtles turning around and going towards a busy road that is right next to the beach, where there is a parade of, say, bars and restaurants and that sort of thing. And this is because turtles use the reflection of the moon on the water to navigate to the sea. So you can imagine that if you've got really strong artificial white lights next to the beach, that is going to be stronger than the reflection of the moon and the stars on the water. So obviously the turtle is going to think, well, this must be the way I need to go. And that's why it is incredibly harmful to have developments by beaches where turtles hatch. Once these hatchlings reach the sea, we don't actually know that much about what they do. These are known as the lost years. What we do know is that they spend several years floating with the currents, and we know that they tend to feed off of small animals that are living within the algae in the water. After a few years, they'll settle close to a shoreline somewhere to grow and develop. It can take up to 30 years, depending on the species, for them to reach adult maturity. Unfortunately, the threats are all too real for both these juveniles and for adult turtles. This can be through fishing bycatch, getting caught in or eating plastic, being subjected to pollution from things like oil spills, as well as being predated on by things like sharks, orcas, and large fish. That's not to mention boat strikes or the destruction of their foraging grounds. For example, trawlers tearing up seagrass beds. Research has shown that Around 60,000 sea turtles, mainly olive ridleys, are caught in shrimp trawlers each year in Central America. Now, this research is from 1996, so if you think about our increase in population since then and our increased demand for seafood, that number has probably increased a lot by this point. And although turtle excluder devices can be put into trawling nets, the technology is there. A lot of countries are not implementing this, including the UK. But enough doom and gloom, because there are definitely things that everybody can do to help. It's incredibly, incredibly important that we all work together to save these magnificent animals. I know we can feel so far removed from these animals' lives and so helpless in trying to help them, but honestly, there are definitely things that we can do to help boost their populations. We all have a part to play. So I'm going to finish on 4 ways that we can help sea turtles. Number 1, cut down on plastic. Now, even though recycling is a brilliant thing, cutting down on plastic, refusing and reducing are really, really important, because even though recycling is amazing, plastic recycling does have its flaws in that once a plastic product is recycled, it can only be recycled into a more inferior product. For example, a plastic bottle could be recycled down to a plastic bag. Now remember, that plastic bag often isn't recyclable, and even if it is, it will be recycled into another inferior product because those fibres are broken down each time. So even though you are buying a plastic product that can be recycled, it will end up in landfill or potentially in the sea eventually. I am planning to make many more videos on this subject as it's something I am really passionate about, but until then there are many websites, Facebook pages, etc. that are really, really informative and can give you information about easy switches you can make to your life which can reduce your plastic consumption. Number 2, if you eat fish, buy sustainably. Trawling does untold damage to the sea floor and everything that relies on it to survive. My main tip is to buy Marine Stewardship Council certified seafood. So look for the MSC logo. This logo shows that the fishery meets international sustainability requirements. Also recommend going to the Good Fish Guide, which I have linked below, as well as the Marine Stewardship Council, to find out which fish is the most sustainable to buy. Number 3, be a responsible tourist. If you are going to watch a sea turtle nesting, for example, make sure you are going with a valid ecotourism organisation, or even better, a conservation charity. Now I'm going to give you some easy ways to spot an irresponsible tourism organisation because they are rampant. If they're letting the tourists touch the turtles, if they are letting them take their phones out to take pictures, especially if they're using flash photography, if they are using anything but a head torch with a red light filter. So anything that doesn't have a red light filter, i.e. white light, is incredibly damaging for turtles. Red filter torches do not emit harmful short wavelength light. This is incredibly disruptive to turtles nesting, and it can lead them to not nest at all or to abandon their nest, and it can really stress them out. If you're going to watch a hatchling release, here are some important things that they must be doing. Unless it is completely impossible to, they should be releasing the turtles as close to the original nest as possible, and they should be letting the turtles walk down the beach. They should not be releasing the turtles straight into the water. This is so incredibly important for turtle hatchlings because this is how they imprint into their memory the beach that they hatched from. No one is 100% sure on how sea turtles navigate. It is still being investigated, but we think there is something to do with the Earth's magnetic field. Sea turtles are loyal to one beach. They will return to the beach that they hatched from to lay eggs of their own. So if they don't know where they came from, how are they supposed to know where to go when the time comes to have babies of their own? So basically, if you are going to do these activities, they are so incredible to watch, but make sure that you do your research, you ask questions, and you keep eyes out for these warning signs. And if you see them, do not support these companies. And number 4, consider supporting a turtle conservation charity if you are in a position to do so. And one of my next videos will be focused on an incredible grassroots charity that I had the pleasure of working with when it was first starting up while I was out in Costa Rica. But I think I've been rambling on for enough in this video, so I'm going to go ahead and go. If there is anything you would like to talk about, turtles or otherwise, please let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and click that notification bell to make sure you are notified when I next upload. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. If you eat for God's sake. What you will not have known is that during the filming of this video, my camera died once, my memory card ran out of memory 3 times, and I have been nursing a Cosmopolitan through half of this video because this is what lockdown has brought me to. And I have just found out that Costa Rica has legalised gay marriage, which makes my heart so, so happy. So cheers!